All right, so we're back. We're going to do some tactics. This is a continuation of the video of creating a chess training that you can stick with. For me, what I'm going to do today is basically my approach to tactics. And this approach is very simple. It has helped me improve. I'm using Chess Temple, so that's one of those sites that are actually free, but there is an element that I like, and I pay for, I think it's $20 for the year, and it gives you a nice calendar that at some point I'll share it. I actually am sharing it on Twitter or X, um, which is at RM Montanez. So if you check out my timeline, you would see that every day I'm posting my performance per day. So there's a couple of things that we want to do, and in this video, I'll walk you through 10 exercises. I might get some of them right, I might get some of them wrong, but the whole purpose of it, because what I see many times is that everybody's telling you tactics, tactics, tactics. And with the little time that you have, you do tactics, but you feel that you're not improving. Well, let's talk about that, right? What is the purpose of tactics? What are we trying to do with tactics? Because it's not as simple as what many people think. And I think what we want to do is understand the whole purpose of tactics, and it's pattern recognition. You want to be exposed to as many options, to as many um, approaches, to as many situations um, that you will face in the game, and how to create them. So typically, the whole purpose of tactics is to expose yourself to those patterns. So I have three goals on every tactics session. One, and you can see it on the board, 75% accuracy. That's what I'm going for, right? I even got the thumbs up. Um, I want to calculate one of the downsides of doing tactics online, and I love them, but for the convenience. But we have the tendency of moving a piece and then thinking, okay, well, once that works, I'll see what's the next thing. And we do the meal piece approach. We cannot do that. We have to work the whole process, understand that once you move this, what is your opponent's best response? And I think that's one of the key elements of doing tactics is calculating, if I do this, what are they going to do? Remember, chess is a game of two people. And when we're starting, we usually think of just my movements or my moves, right? This starts in tactics. This starts creating that rigorous approach to having mental fitness for a game of chess and improving. So 75% accuracy, we want to calculate and identify the theme gaps. What I mean by that is that we may see ourselves struggling with one theme, and I'll pick forks, right? So if I see that I'm struggling with forks, what I'm going to do? Well, after the session, I might just go to chess.com, do a custom tactics, and I'll select forks. And depending, sometimes I might go to 800, from 800 to 2000. And I just practice forks, forks, forks. And you go through every theme, because the problem in tactics, when you get them wrong, is one, that you have a gap. You haven't either understand or register that theme, right? Whether it's a pin, whether it's a sacrifice, desperado, whichever it is. But that's what I want to take away from this tactics. So let's do about 10 exercises. Again, a goal of 75. I am not sure if I'm gonna get them all right, but you know what? I'm being true with all of you, and I just want you to be aware of what we have here. So let's just get started. So here we go. And you're gonna see that I have it timed on the top left side by H1. So let's take a look at it. And I'll talk through it so you can understand what I'm looking at. Sometimes I get so involved in it that then I realize that I'm on check and I miss the whole part of the exercise. So anyways, we have rook. Rook just moved to f7. So at this point, I'm just looking at my options. Um, and I can tell you right now, sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. What I like here is that I see a potential fork on f4 with my knight. The problem is that I have two rooks defending it, but I also have the the queens staring at each other. So maybe I just queen takes queen, right? My queen takes on d3. That rook, the white rook, would take back on d3. I would love to put my knight there. So I'm not sure how would I create, putting that knight on f4 and forking the king with the queen. But I just noticed one thing, right? If I fork right now, the rook would take my knight, and from that point, the queen is hanging. So that's the answer. I'll take the knight to f4, rook takes back, and my queen takes each other because this is a forcing move. I'll take, and bingo, there we go. So we got green. Now you can see on the top, and I'll show you. Of course, because I'm talking, I'm gonna take a little bit longer. I took 1 minute and 33 seconds. On average, 64% of the participants actually took 59 seconds, which is not bad. I'm not sure if they were recording what they were doing that. But anyways, and then you see in the middle a green bar. We got 1 out of 1. So this is what we want to do. To be honest with you, don't be in a hurry to get the exercises wrong. I'm not in a hurry to fail, and that's one of the key takeaways. It's not a how fast you do them, we're going for quality. So let's start with the next one. I see this one here, and now I'm always looking for the king. That's one of my approaches, just getting oriented. So I'm looking at the king. I'm looking at pieces, if we're balanced, if we got the same amount of pieces. So at this point, I'm actually seeing, I love looking for forks. I don't know about you. That's one of my favorite tactics. And I love winning a game when you find a nice fork and people just resign. I love that part, but I hate when that happens to me, right? So initially, I'm not seeing anything that pops out. So you can see that this is a theme that I basically need to be familiar with. So let's see, I have a free pawn on, it's not free, it's protected by the knight. On e4, my knight can go there, but the knight takes. What else can we do? We have the double rooks. I have 2 rooks on the b file, so I can trade, but it's also, that knight is protecting. What can we do here? And this is a great example. I like the idea of sacrificing my knight for that pawn. Knight takes, then I can put the rook on b1. Not sure if that's the approach. I know if the knight moves, my pawn can bring check. That's another approach. I feel like I need to dislodge that knight. I don't see anything else. I don't see any threats. I could move my g5 pawn, my g pawn to g5 to kick that rook there, but that's a useless move. There's no tactics there. So I'm going to invoke Robert Ramirez. Tactics in the air. Where are they? Right? So this is very interesting. Let's try, I mean, to be honest with you, this is gonna be a fail, but I'm going to, look at that, and then move in here. So I got it wrong at that point. I moved my rook here to, and I was thinking maybe we can trade, even though he can move away, right? So that's not an issue. So what was the answer? See, again, I calculated it, and one of the things that I'm seeing as of late on my tactics approach is actually that, and you may experience this, you're gonna get to a point that one of your candidate moves is the right answer. Before it wasn't like that. Look, and that was the key part right there. It's just moving that pawn away. It's a discover attack, uh, diagonal clearance. So I didn't see that. I need to get better at board vision. So that's a takeaway from this session. Um, but one of your candidate moves will always be maybe the correct answer. And I don't know, sometimes I don't select it. So that the struggle is real. So let's continue. All right, so on the white pieces, again, I get oriented. I see a queen exchange here. I know that pawn on the A rank, on the A file wants to make it home. So I could do the same. I could go forward, but the queen can take. If I trade queens, I move, then the king moves. What can we do, right? I could move my queen to d5, protecting my pawn and attacking the pawn. Then we'll have to move the pawn or queen trade, which that's not great, right? So if I move my queen to d5, the goal is to protect that pawn and attack the black pawn on the A file. I like that. If I do that, what is the best move? The king cannot come any closer. They're gonna have to move that pawn. I check the king. After that, I come here. I come to d7. After that move, check. The king goes back to f. Let's try it. Nope, it was wrong. Yeah, exchange the queen. So that was it. And this is an example of what I'm saying. That was my first inclination. I just get it wrong. So between my sessions of tactics, this translates to games, and I'm pretty sure you do the same thing, where you're calculating and you're like, well, I could do this, I could do that. So there's something amiss there. Of identifying not only what is the best move, but how to capitalize. Another thing that I like to do on tactics, and this is a perfect example. Once I know the answer, sometimes I like to play it through, because this is a typical game for me where we exchange. I know the bishop would take my queen right here. And then it's a race for the basically black pawn to run over here while I'm trying to run over here. So if you look at it, once they take, right, my pawn is going to make it here. So one of the things that I want to do is, if then after that move, I move, the king is going to move here because the bishop is protecting basically the promotion square. So yeah, and if I had done that, it would have been easier for me to simplify, right? All right, let's move on. Let's see if I can get some good ones here. Anyways, we see the rook moving to h6. What are we going to do? I see that I can take the bishop on f4. I can basically try to take, let's see, if my rook takes on h6, the queen is protecting, the white queen is protecting that rook, the queen will come down. What I would do next, right? Very interesting. I just gotta be careful with the back rank checkmate, right? Exposed there. So I can move my... What are we going to do here? All my pieces are protected, so I like taking the bishop, then the pawn would take, it would leave that king exposed, right? Um, the queen takes bishop on f4. Um, then the pawn takes. At that point, I can take back and put pressure on that rook, even though it's protected by the queen. Options, options, options. So that will be candidate move 1. Candidate move 2 will be um, exchanging rooks, bringing the queen out. And then what? Right? So I am going to simplify. Let's see. They take, I took, I take here. Simple. Notice that I first calculated and this one is a hanging piece. I knew that. But once I take, I calculated that he was going, the opponent was going to take here, right? On f4, and then I would bring my queen back and do that. Because I knew this exchange here would be easier to manage. So some of those things, so, you know, really, they gave me the full point, but I only get half a point on that one. All right, we got 4. Let's see if we get better here. Again, my goal is 75% accuracy. In a true session, what I'll do is that I put a timer, and I have a little digital timer here that I just want to show you. You see that it has 45 minutes. I don't use, you can use your phone or anything, but I just like to have something physical that when it's done, it beeps, and I finish my training exercise. That works for me. All right, I know we're 30 seconds into this one. You probably already solved it, and you're screaming at the screen that, Roberto, I can see it, and I don't know why you're not seeing it. So let's see. I see that I can take the rook on with my pawn, right? Then I like that exchange, because if I take the rook, what is the white would retake? No, maybe that knight is dead on arrival. I can take the knight. Let's do that. Let's simplify here. The knight is forking. I do that. Done deal. So that was easy. Thank you, Chess Tempo, making me look good. So 3 out of 5. Let's see. And notice that I took a minute and 1 second versus 64% of the participants on this tactic took a minute and 3 seconds. So let's go to the next one. All right, so on the white pieces, and I love that, and you can do this. I'm doing regular set, but in Chess Tempo you can put easy, medium, and hard. This is medium, and it's just regular timing. There's a blitz option as well, which I use to just identify patterns faster. And as you can see, it's not working. So, so let's take a look at this one. I'm attacking basically both knights with my bishops. Love that. I take one knight, the other one is being defended. That's the key part. So how do we go about it? Can we capture both knights? If I take one, the other one comes in. And if I take the one on the C file, it's gonna be protected. And then what, right? That's the key part. Now, what I could do is take the one on E7 with my bishop. If he retakes, then I'll take back with my rook. Seems like better than just a silly check, because then the king will come into play. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'll take here, they take simple. And that's my thought process. You can see, again, another simple one. We got 4 more. So let's go through this. I'm playing black. What are we going to do here? We're equal in material, but I don't like that pawn isolated there. But I see a nice fork, so my knight can come to A3. The king would take my pawn, and I will take that bishop. So let's do that. There we go. Simple, easy peasy, right? Let's do 3 more. All right. We have the rook hanging, so that's the first thing that comes to my mind. That's my first candidate move, right? Rook takes on D1. What counterplay? He can basically take some. my bishop, right? On e8, and then I can take the bishop back. I cannot take that knight because it's pinned. So this looks like the correct answer for me. Look at that. Calculated. Man, I'm looking like an expert. Love it. Love it. Again, took me 34 seconds. I'm taking it a little bit slower because I'm talking to you guys. But I hope that through this exercises, you're getting the hang of the ultimate approach to chess tactics. It's not about just doing them. It's about you understanding them and getting better at it. And the more you do this, the better you're gonna get to it. When I started, it was just moving a piece and see what happened. So, and I'm not gonna lie, that still happens once in a while. So, anyways, let's continue this. This is number 8, I believe. So, hey, I see a nice little fork in the pawn right on f7. So if I move the pawn, no, it's not a fork because he can take, which I don't like. But I can see a check, and I think I see a mate. If I move my rook to e4, the king cannot come to f6 or d6 because it's protected by the king. My rook will be protected. Man, I love that. It's not... Oh, guess what? This is a perfect example. Notice that I'm calculating this, but I'm in check. So I just wasted, what, almost a minute calculating that? Okay. So my option here, it would be to sacrifice that rook. The knight would take, or the rook would take, and I still have the checkmate. So let's do that. Nope, I got it wrong. What was the answer? The fork. But why couldn't it be a checkmate? Because the knight would be attacking this. So if I was to move here, notice that I was just too hasty. I would have lost the rook. Going for the win and I get knocked out, right? So those things happen. Over eager. I did see the fork with the bishop initially, but it was the wrong move. So I think takeaway from me here is actually maybe once I identify that tactic, I might need to go back to it, or in my calculation revisit if that tactic is still applicable, right? Because as the position change, you start seeing more opportunities. So all right, let's do the last one. As you can see, I'm at 67% in my tactics. If I get this last one, I'll get to 75. I mean to 70, not 75, right? Not good, but at least we continue to try to do what the whole purpose of this exercise is. So let's take a look. I have to be careful with back rank checkmates, right? So if I take that rook on c5, the knight would take back, and then what? And I think that's the key question to ask. And then what? So if I take, they take, that might be the puzzle, but I like to take it one step further and understand what are we trying to do, because in the game it's just not just moving two pieces, right? I could put pressure with my rook on the C file. So let's try. Let's see. If bishop takes, knight takes, I'll bring my rook. That knight has to move away, and then I can put some pressure. Let's give it a go. Nope, I got it wrong. So what was the answer here? Oh, my knight takes that knight, and then you see the fork, right? Again, big takeaway. I need to open my eyes for those bishops but diagonals. So you could see that we have that fork there. He would take, and I still win a rook. So anyways, 60% only, 10 exercises. Definitely a lot of work to room for improvement. But with that said, I hope that this approach and this steps for tactics help you. This is my ultimate approach. I already know that from this session, I'll probably just go and do specific discover attacks, skewers, that type of thing. Some days you're better than others. Clearly, today wasn't one of those days. But there's no shame in that. Chess can be a social game, but when you're training, it's very isolating. So that's why I'm doing this. There's no shame to get it wrong in tactics. I'd rather get it wrong in tactics here for you to see than get it wrong in a game. But with that said, continue working hard. Look at our training plans, follow it. Let me know in the comments what is your best approach for tactics, and let me know if this helps you. All right? Until then, I'll see you around.